The rooftop shimmered in soft champagne light, but Mara Lysander's gaze wasn't on the skyline. It was on the white envelope in her hand, thick with implication. She'd just sealed the deal of the quarter, an 8-figure merger. Yet her glass trembled slightly as she read the words printed in gold foil. "You are cordially invited. Celeste's wedding. No warmth. No handwritten note. Just a sterile line. We'd be honored to have you." Her assistant glanced over. "Everything all right?" Mara blinked once, locked it down. "I've seen ghosts friendlier than that." Beneath the flash of success, a memory stirred. The kitchen, 17, begging. "Just the tuition," she had said. Her mother, Seraphine, all pearls and precision, had answered, "You said you wanted to be independent. Be proud, not pitiful." Her father never looked up. That night, Mara packed 2 duffels and a copy of her FAFSA rejection letter. She spent the next month sleeping in her car outside a library, brushing her teeth in gas station sinks. Back then, she told herself it would one day make sense. But tonight, champagne burned like vinegar. Her phone buzzed again. "Rowan Vale." "Don't RSVP yet," he said. "Too late. You need to hear this." Pause. "Celeste is using your name." "The wedding?" "It's a front." "What kind of front?" "She's pitching a pharma deal to investors. Says you're mentoring her. And we found documents, your signatures on them." Mara's grip tightened. "Forged?" "Clearly. You've never even seen this NDA. But it's circulating. She used your digital stamp, Mara. She's not inviting you back. She's wearing your face." Later that night, Lucas Marrow, her cybersecurity lead, tapped her desk. "You need to see this." Celeste's LinkedIn claimed co-CEO status at Mara's own biotech firm. "No records of her ever being on payroll," Lucas confirmed. Mara's eyes narrowed, scanning the glowing monitor. She didn't shout. She didn't call. She screenshot. Saved. Logged. "In war," she whispered, screaming his noise. "Silence is strategy." The next morning, Celeste's profile was gone. Just vanished. Not scrubbed, erased. A new email blinked in her encrypted inbox. "Let sleeping dogs lie." She stared at the screen for a moment, then closed her laptop slowly. Lucas frowned. "They're inside. That wasn't just a family stunt. This is a breach." She nodded. "No one covers their tracks unless they're running." At home, Mara opened an old voicemail. Her mother's voice, cloying cold. "You embarrassed us. Running away like that." Flash. Graduation day. Empty seat where her family should have been. A single bouquet clutched in her hand. Mara stared at the phone. Deleted the message. "You weren't embarrassed," she said. "You were exposed." That afternoon, an unfamiliar number texted her. Attached was a Zoom screenshot. Celeste, grinning on a private call. "Mara doesn't mind. I'm practically her." But in the corner of the screen, reflected on a glass cabinet behind her, confidential slides from Mara's upcoming IPO. She showed the image to Rowan. His mouth tightened. "She's not just lying. She's leaking." Mara exhaled slow. So much for family secrets. Rowan's eyes narrowed. "We need to move before she weaponizes your entire identity." That night, Mara sent back the RSVP. One word, yes. Then, she unlocked her personal vault. Inside, a lockbox marked, "Inheritance Confidential." She lifted the lid, fingers brushing a sealed envelope, its seal unbroken since the day her grandfather passed. "Let's see," she whispered, "what truth survived." The Monterey breeze carried salt and secrets. A seaside estate framed the horizon in sunlit perfection. But Mara Lysander stepped out of the black SUV like she was entering a courthouse, not a celebration. Seraphine met her at the entrance with a brittle smile. Smile. This is Celeste's moment. Mara tilted her chin slightly. Then she should enjoy it without the theatrics. Around them, guests paused. Some recognized Mara. Others simply clocked her tailored navy pantsuit. Minimal makeup, no drama, just presence. Elegant enough to disarm, cold enough to cut. Daniel appeared beside her, straightening his tie too many times. Glad you came, even if they aren't. I didn't come to be liked, she said quietly. I came to give grace. That's not the same as permission. He looked confused, but nodded. Inside, tension simmered behind champagne flutes and perfectly folded napkins. As the rehearsal dinner quieted, Celeste stood to toast, glass raised. To new beginnings, she smiled, then added, not all sisters show up for the big things. I'm grateful mine finally could. Polite laughter rippled. Mara blinked once. Celeste kept going. And of course, I owe so much to Mara. Her company paved the way, literally. Her tone sugary, layered with barbs. Daniel's brows furrowed. The investors seated nearby leaned in. Mara rose from her chair with a calm that felt surgical. Some debts can't be paid, only exposed. The room hushed. Forks froze midair. Just then, her phone buzzed under the table. Rowan, SEC flagged Farmextra deal. You're listed as financial backer. Your trust fund was collateralized. It's your signature, digitally forged. Mara stared at the text, pulse steady. The paperwork had been filed 2 weeks ago, the same time the wedding invite landed in her inbox. This isn't a wedding, she murmured to herself. It's a cover-up. The reception began, a blur of white orchids and rented smiles. Mara moved like a chess piece, always 2 squares from Celeste, until Daniel pulled Celeste aside, loud enough for half the room to hear. Why is your sister's trust listed on our SEC filings? Celeste paled. What? Adric stepped in. This isn't the place. Someone near the dessert table called out, Are those fake credentials? Mara stepped forward and placed 3 printed pages into Daniel's hand. My company has never endorsed fraud. A partygoer live-streamed it all, tagging it, Wedding Gone Wrong. Celeste's voice cracked as she shouted across the clinking glasses in murmurs. You were never part of this family. Mara didn't flinch. Then stop trying to sell my name like it's yours. Daniel backed away from Celeste. Then Mara's phone vibrated again, this time from a number she didn't know. Unknown. Celeste never graduated. She was expelled for cheating. She called Lucas. Within minutes, he breached an old alumni archive. There it was. Celeste had been expelled. A cheating scandal swept under the rug. Yet, at the hallway of the estate, framed on the wall, was a glossy degree. Fake. Paid for. Stamped by an offshore diploma mill long defunct. Seraphine's fingerprints were all over it. Mara looked at her mother, standing near the piano with wine in hand, laughing like the world wasn't collapsing. Parents can forgive anything, Mara thought, as long as the lie benefits their favorite. Later, Adric found her alone. You've made your point. No need to burn it all down. Mara placed a slim recorder on the bar top. This isn't about revenge. It's about accuracy. Outside, Daniel was on the phone. Pause the deal. We need legal to audit everything. Word spread fast. Firmextra's investors began pulling back, one by one. In the powder room, Celeste sobbed behind a locked stall. Mara didn't open the door. She just watched the reflection, herself, composed, decisive. She wanted my name, Mara thought, but none of the scars that came with it. Back at her hotel, Mara opened the envelope she'd taken from the vault. It was a trust amendment, unsigned but drafted, legally binding if executed. Clause: all assets to transfer to Celeste if Mara remained estranged for 5 consecutive years. They counted on my silence, she whispered. They were banking on me staying gone. She reached for her phone. Call Rowan. It's war now. Voiceover. What would you do if your name was the weapon they used to destroy you? Rain traced thin lines down the hotel window like a shaky signature, the kind someone writes when their hand is trembling. Mara sat in the dim room, the only light coming from the bedside lamp and the open lockbox on her lap. Papers fanned out like a confession, and signed trust amendments, quiet bank transfers she never authorized, wiring statements that tied her family's hands into her accounts as if they had the right. She took a slow breath, telling herself calm wasn't weakness, it was preparation. Her phone buzzed. A message from Lucas. They're coming for the original safe deposit key tonight. The silence in the room sharpened. The sound of her own heartbeat felt like a countdown. She closed her eyes, whispered, "If they want legacy, they'll get truth," and folded the documents with a precision she'd learned from years of being dismissed. She wasn't the girl begging for tuition anymore. She was the woman holding the receipts. And dawn was coming. She dialed Detective Nolan Cruz. His voice was gravelly, tired but sharp. She explained the forged signatures, the transcripts, the hidden accounts. "We need every chain of custody step airtight," he warned. "If this leaks, any defense attorney will cry, family feud, and throw it out." "I'm not doing this to humiliate them," she said. "I'm doing it because no daughter should feel erased by the people who gave her their name." They arranged to meet at a public legal archive, neutral ground with cameras, timestamps, and no shadows to hide in. Mara gathered the documents, snapping photos, securing digital logs, scanning fingerprints on every page. She recorded an audio statement, time-stamped, controlled, clean. If they wanted war, she'd give them procedure. Her phone chimed. Rowan again, this time with a link. She clicked it. The screen loaded an SEC bulletin. And just like that, the ground shifted under her. Every wedding expense, venue, catering, guest airfare, had been financed through her MedTech trust, a financial trail traced straight to her account. The wedding wasn't just sentimental fraud, it was an embezzled celebration funded by her success. Images flashed, guests looking stunned, photographers lowering cameras mid-click, investors texting furiously under tables, Seraphine going pale like someone had ripped the stage lights from her. The live stream replayed Celeste's meltdown, the moment truth blared louder than the orchestra hired to cover it. Mara closed the screen. "They had a puppet," she murmured, "but they forgot puppets leave fingerprints on the strings." By morning, everything was unraveling. Adric stormed out of the estate, pushing past reporters. Celeste wept before she could make it to the car. Seraphine stared at nothing, her spine curved as though holding up decades of curated lies. Legal notices flooded the family estate. Investors withdrew support from Celeste's ventures. Lien filings hit the county clerk's system like dominoes tipping in sequence. Mara received offers from talk shows, podcasts, exposés, people hungry to turn her pain into entertainment. She declined them all. Instead, she released a quiet statement. I did not fight my family to destroy them. I fought because truth has a right to breathe. She gathered what remained in her hotel room. Old family photos she hadn't looked at in years. A picture of her and Celeste as kids, paint on their faces. Another of her mother holding her awkwardly, half smile, half expectation. She placed them in a box labeled for return or donation. Memory wasn't an anchor anymore. It was simply history. Her inbox pinged again. A news link, Lysander Scholarship Fund grants aid to first-generation students. The donation was anonymous, except the scholarship bore her name. And beneath the headline was a small photo, Celeste older, quieter, clutching a certificate from a community college. Not glamorous, not fake, real, earned. No public thank you, no apology, just effort. Mara exhaled. Compassion wasn't weakness. It was choosing not to hold the knife even after knowing exactly where to stab. She typed a brief message and sent it. I hope this helps someone deserving. Nothing more, nothing less. When dawn broke, she stood on the rooftop of the hotel. The city below glimmered under gold light, a reminder that endings and beginnings share the same horizon. She inhaled the chilled air, feeling something settle within her, a release, not relief. I lost a family, she murmured, but I gained myself. And maybe that's the start of something cleaner. She deleted the wedding invite from her phone, the screen flashing once before returning to quiet. As the sun rose, her silhouette stood alone, free, scarred, dignified, and in the soft glow of morning, her voice seemed to whisper to anyone who'd ever been betrayed by blood. We can survive betrayal if we refuse to carry its weight.